Welcome back. Closing arguments happening today in the case against Maya Hernandez. She testified in her own defense on Monday. On direct, she said that she went to her car after her procedure. She told the jury, quote, "I immediately looked back at the kids. I noticed Teo's cheeks," that's Mateo, her older boy, who was around 2 at the time, his cheeks were red. "I looked over at Emilio," that's the deceased baby victim, "and noticed that Emilio was blankly staring at me." On cross, the prosecution pressed her on negligence. They pointed to the fact that the kids were left alone for 2.5 hours while she received butt filler injections. Apparently a Brazilian butt lift with liquid filler. Hernandez was asked about all the dangers that her children faced while she was away. She told the jury, "I didn't think of all of those things." So let's talk about this. Is she going to tip the scales of justice with her testimony? What do you think the jury might be thinking of her? Let's bring back in former District Attorney Josh Markey and welcome in board-certified plastic and reconstructive surgeon, Dr. Craig Ozer. Okay, so let's start with her testimony. She cried the whole time. Josh, do you think she could have swayed the jury?
She might have. I mean, you know, there's an old line about killing your parents and then throwing yourself upon the mercy of the court for being an orphan. This is a version of that. The facts in this case are pretty compelling. She could have brought these infants, and let's be clear, these are 1- and 2-year-old babies, essentially. And they were welcome in the spa. She'd been told that. And she wasn't just gone for half an hour. She was gone for over 2 hours. She arrived at 1. She left to go into the spa at 2. She didn't come back out till 4:33 a.m. It was 102 degrees outside that day. And now the only thing going perhaps in her favor is the fact that this model car, a 22 hybrid, apparently, if you turn the air conditioning on and there's no further action, the car will turn itself off in an hour.
Right.
That's apparently what happened.
Right. And Dr. Craig, I want to turn to you on something. So had she gone out to check on the baby, I know, you know, who knows, hindsight's 20/20, but you know, she was gone for 2.5 hours. Do you think there could have been a chance, even if halfway through she would have gone outside, that little Emilio could be alive today?
Yeah, for sure. I would imagine she was in the middle of her procedure and I'm assuming it was going through her head at some point, like, hey, you know, let me check on these kids. And when I do procedures in my office, it's not uncommon. I have to stop sometimes in the middle of the procedure because a patient may have to go to the bathroom. By the same token, this individual certainly could have went out and brought the kids into the spa, and the spa, I don't know why they would not be receptive to at least watching the kids during her procedure.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, they offered to. They said they can stay in the waiting room. That is perfectly fine. Doc, this Brazilian butt lift done by filler, is this common? Is this a valid procedure? We're getting a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, I mean, it is a valid procedure. It's done all over the country. When we say Brazilian butt lift, I typically do them in the operating room where I use the patient's own fat. However, that is only done by a surgeon. Now you're seeing a lot of these med spas pop up that are starting to do injections using filler. The same filler you would use on someone's face, their hands, they're now using in someone's buttock area to do a gluteal augmentation, or AKA a Brazilian butt lift. The procedure, you know, can take anywhere from 1 to 2 hours, depending on how much volume you're going to be injecting into that individual's buttocks area. So, you know, the other thing is, who is performing these procedures? Is it a board-certified plastic surgeon? Is it a nurse? Is there an actual physician even on premises? And that kind of is dictated by the state where the procedure is being done. I know, like here in Pennsylvania, I could have a physician assistant do the procedure, and I'm nowhere even around. I could be in another country, but they're under my license.
Oh, that's interesting. Dr. Craig, thank you for that. You know, when you said 1 to 2 hours potentially is how long this could take as an estimate, makes me think, Josh Markey, is this defendant telling the truth when she testifies that she only thinks that she's going to be in that spa for 20 minutes? She's under the impression it's a 20-minute procedure and she's going to be back out. Is that helpful to prosecutors?
No, I think that's probably a little bit helpful to her. I mean, it's not an unbelievable statement. The problem is that she's A, been offered to bring the kids in, B, she knows how hostile the outside environment is, and the reality is that she was there physically for 3.5 hours at the spa, 2.5 of which she was inside the spa, and she never went to check on the kids. Now, what exactly, it's important to note that she's not charged with intentional murder, but in California, second-degree murder can be manifest and conscious disregard of a risk. And I think there's a very great risk that the jury could find her, and if they do, she's guilty of second-degree murder. Remember, her lawyer has already conceded the possibility of...
Yes. Yeah, he conceded involuntary. Yes, Josh, we've got to leave it there for now, but we're going to bring the closing arguments to you live today on Court TV.